Dear fellow travelers and seekers of divine light, in just 11 days, specifically on February 15, 2026, an unprecedented event will begin, revealing what the Blessed Mother has been announcing for decades in Medjugorje. While the great mass of humanity walks inattentively, you have been led here by a greater force to join the group of those who will sustain the flame of faith. May celestial serenity and the strength of the Creator envelop each heart at this decisive moment in our earthly journey. For today, February 4th, 2026, I feel the urgent call to transmit something so vital that the very eternity of the soul connects to the minutes we will spend together now under the mantle of the Virgin Mary. It is impactful to know that the Queen of Heaven manifested herself in 7 distinct points of the planet last week, unifying her voice in a warning about the approaching period of shadows. I ask that you silence the outside world and listen with your soul, for what I deliver to you does not spring from human minds, but from a sacred revelation coming directly from the higher spheres, supported by evidence that calls for our spiritual readiness. If your chest burns and your heart races now, understand that this is not by chance, but rather a personal invitation from Providence for you to become a beacon in this purification. Before we delve into the details that will transform your perception of reality, recognize the magnitude of this calling and feel the need for this truth to reach more and more people who still sleep in material illusions. The veil between dimensions has become thin, and the Queen of Peace has issued a message capable of shaking the structures of the visible and the invisible, this being the final cry before the ancient prophecies leave the pages of the past to become the lived present. Observe how the global scenario converges to a breaking point, where sacred values are disregarded and innocence is attacked, transforming our society into a reflection of ancient times marked by the loss of divine essence. In Medjugorje, the warning was clear. The cup of justice is full, and although maternal intercession has held back the weight of the divine hand for a long time, the moment of renewal through trial is inevitable. Signs are sprouting in Akita with tears of blood, and in Garabandal hearts are quickening, revealing that the 3 days of supernatural darkness prophesied for generations are no longer a metaphor, but an imminent reality that will engulf the globe. You, chosen souls, are called to look beyond the skepticism of the world and the hesitation of many, recognizing that the first great sign will be a resplendent cross tearing through the firmament between February 8th and 14th, 2026, serving as the final 7-day countdown to ultimate preparation. With infinite love, the Mother does not leave us orphans, but teaches us to illuminate our inner paths before the external lights go out, leading us with order and courage back to the core of God's love. My beloved children, listen with open hearts and silent souls, for I speak to you as a mother who watches over each of you, even when you stray, even when you do not realize how far you have distanced yourselves from the paths that lead to life. Pray, my children, and cultivate faith, not as an empty habit, but as a sincere return to the love that sustains you. Many have walked distracted, seduced by promises that do not satisfy the soul, living as if God were distant, when in truth it is you who have strayed from the grace of heaven. The world, my children, has become noisy, hurried, and hardened. Sin has ceased to be recognized as a wound and has come to be treated as a virtue. Hearts no longer weep for what offends God, and many have chosen paths that lead them away from the light, believing that darkness will grant them freedom. But I tell you, as a mother who suffers to see her children lost, there is no peace far from God. There is no true joy when the truth is rejected. Therefore, I call you to prayer, not as a threat, but as a refuge. Prayer is the lamp lit when everything seems to darken. It is the voice that keeps you standing when the world tries to silence you. Faith will be put to the test, and many will feel the weight of an inner emptiness, as if a great night enveloped humanity. These days of darkness, my children, should not be seen merely as punishment, but as a merciful warning, a strong call to awaken from the spiritual slumber into which so many have fallen. God does not wish to lose any of his children. He allows man to experience the consequences of his estrangements so that, finally, he may recognize his need for heaven. Darkness comes when light is rejected, but even in it, mercy still whispers, waiting for a repentant heart, a soul willing to return. Do not harden your hearts. Return while there is still time. Strengthen yourselves in faith. Choose daily conversion. Teach your children to love God. I call upon you to respect life, to seek what is holy. I walk with you, I intercede for you, and I do not abandon you, even when the world seems to crumble. Remain steadfast, for those who trust in the Lord will never be confounded, and light will always overcome darkness. My beloved children, remain with me in this calling that springs from the love and pain of a mother who sees her children walking aimlessly, many wounded inside, others deluded by false lights that do not lead to life. Listen to me attentively, for I do not speak to frighten, but to awaken. Pray, my children, and keep your faith alive, because without it the heart grows cold and the soul loses the sensitivity to recognize the presence of God. How many live today as if heaven did not exist, as if everything ended in this fleeting world, forgetting that they were created for something greater, for eternity. I see, my children, broken homes, divided hearts, families that no longer unite to seek God. Many have learned to trust more in their own strength than in divine grace, and therefore they grow weary, frustrated, and lost. Sin no longer inspires fear, and what once wounded the conscience is now treated with indifference. The world has strayed from the holy paths and, in doing so, has plunged into a profound confusion where it is no longer possible to distinguish good from evil, truth from falsehood, light from darkness. As a mother, I suffer to see so many rejecting the calls of heaven, postponing conversion, believing that there will always be time. But I tell you, my children, time is a grace, and each day is an opportunity that should not be wasted. God has spoken in many ways, through events, pain, and crises spreading across the earth. All of this is not by chance, but a sign that humanity needs to look upwards and recognize its dependence on the Creator. Spiritual darkness already covers many hearts, and when man closes his eyes to God, he himself builds his inner night. The days of darkness to come, my children, are a warning to a humanity that insists on walking far from the light. Do not understand them merely as physical suffering, but as a reflection of what is already happening in the souls of many. God allows man to feel the weight of his choices so that, touched by pain, he may finally seek truth and repentance. Do not fear if you remain steadfast. Those who pray, who trust, who strive to live in grace, will not be abandoned. Faith will be the refuge when everything seems confusing, and prayer will be the strength that sustains those who do not bow before evil. I beg you, my children, do not play with sin, do not compromise with that which separates you from God. Every small separation, when repeated, becomes an abyss difficult to cross. Return while you still hear this gentle yet urgent call. Reconcile yourselves with God. Seek a simple, humble, and sincere life. Do not let yourselves be contaminated by hatred, violence, and indifference that spreads like poison. Be instruments of peace, even amidst chaos. Be light where many have chosen to extinguish themselves. I am with you, my children, holding your hands, interceding for you before the throne of the Most High. Even when you do not call upon me, I accompany you. But remember, heaven respects the freedom of every heart. Therefore, choose life, choose light, choose daily conversion. There is still time, there is still mercy, there is still hope. Do not reject this call, for it springs from the infinite love of God, who desires to save, restore, and lead each of you back to his heart. Pray, my children, for prayer is the thread that keeps you united to God when everything around you tries to distance you from him. In the face of so many trials, be stronger, not through hardness of heart, but through the living faith that springs from trust in the Lord. Many have lived a life far from God, distracted by the worries of the world, seduced by easy paths that promise happiness but leave only emptiness and inner weariness. As a mother, I see every hidden tear, every wound that is not shown, every heart that tries to go on alone and gets lost. How many no longer know how to listen to the voice of God, because the noise of the world has become louder than the silence of the soul. Turning away from God does not happen overnight, my children. It begins with small oversights, with prayer neglected, with a dormant conscience, until the heart no longer recognizes his presence. Therefore, I ask you, awaken. Do not allow faith to become weak or merely a memory of the past. Faith needs to be nourished every day, just as the body needs bread. When you pray, even without feeling comfort, you are being strengthened. When you persevere, even when weary, God acts in silence, molding your souls and preparing you to remain steadfast. The world offers many voices, but few lead to the truth. Many confuse freedom with separation from God, when, in truth, it is in Him that true liberation is found. Outside the Lord's paths, the heart hardens, love grows cold, and hope fades. I tell you, my children, no worldly conquest can fill the absence of God in the soul. Be strong in faith even when you are misunderstood. Be steadfast even when everything seems contrary. Do not be ashamed to love God, to seek a holy life, to choose good when so many choose error. Every small act of faithfulness has great value before heaven. I walk with you, my children. I intercede for each one of you, especially for those who have strayed and no longer know how to return. It is never too late to return. God awaits with open arms, with infinite mercy, ready to restore what has been broken and rekindle the light that seemed extinguished. Pray, my children, and do not be discouraged. Prayer will give you discernment, strength, and peace. Trust in God, even when you do not understand His ways. Remain steadfast, for those who place their hope in the Lord will never be abandoned. I cover you with my motherly love and lead you, step by step, back to the heart of God. My beloved children, remain attentive to the voice of this mother who speaks to you with tenderness and firmness, because the time calls for decision, calls for inner courage and a heart willing to return. Pray, my children, not only with words, but with your lives, with actions that reflect the faith you profess to have. In the face of all that you experience, be stronger and do not allow discouragement, spiritual coldness, or indifference to dominate you. The strength I ask of you does not come from the world, but is born from trust in God, from that sincere abandonment that surrenders everything into the Father's hands. How many have lived a life far from God without realizing how much this weakens them? Many continue walking, working, smiling on the outside, but inside they carry a deep emptiness, a restlessness that nothing can fill. This happens, my children, because the heart was created for God, and when it tries to replace the Creator with fleeting things, it ends up getting tired and lost. The world offers distractions, quick pleasures, and promises of easy happiness, but it doesn't teach love. It doesn't teach forgiveness. It doesn't teach bearing crosses with hope. I see many wounded hearts, hardened by disappointments, by lack of love, by the absence of God in daily life. Prayer has been set aside. Faith has been treated as something secondary, and thus the enemy has found space to confuse, divide, and weaken. When one does not pray, my children, the soul is exposed, like a house without doors, open to everything that does not come from heaven. That is why I insist. Pray. Even when you are tired, even when it seems that nothing changes, even when the silence seems too great, prayer sustains, protects, and strengthens, even if you do not immediately understand its fruits. It is in perseverance that God acts. It is in hidden faithfulness that heaven moves. Do not wait to feel in order to pray. Pray to learn to feel God's presence again. Be strong in faith, my children, for you will be tested. The world does not understand those who choose God, and many will be ridiculed, rejected, or pressured to abandon the holy paths. Do not be afraid of this. The truth has always disturbed those who live in darkness. Remain steadfast, without hatred, without violence, but with the serenity of those who know in whom they have placed their hope. Return to God while you still hear this gentle call. Do not delay conversion. Do not play with sin. Do not normalize that which separates you from grace. Each day away from God hardens the heart a little more, but each step of return is welcomed with infinite mercy. God does not tire of waiting, but respects the freedom of each one. The choice is yours, my children. Take care of your families. Teach by example, not just by words. Bring God into your homes with simple gestures. Forgiveness, dialogue, patience, love lived in silence. A home that prays becomes a refuge amidst the storms of this world. A family that trusts in God remains standing even when everything around seems to crumble. I am with you, my children, in every struggle, in every fall, and in every attempt to start again. I do not abandon you, even when you stray. I intercede for those who can no longer pray, for those who have lost faith, for those who feel unworthy to return. God's mercy is greater than any sin, greater than any estrangement. Pray, my children, and strengthen yourselves. Choose God every day, even if it requires renunciation. True faith is not an easy path, but it is the only one that leads to a full life. Remain in the light, because those who trust in the Lord will never walk alone, and even in the most difficult nights, God's love will continue to be your strength and your hope. Understand that everything I have revealed to you over time stems from God's infinite love for each of you. I do not speak to confuse or to hurt, but to guide, protect, and remind you who you are and where you should go. The Father loves you with a love that does not change, that does not tire, and that does not give up, even when you stray, even when you choose paths that do not lead you to life. I have shown you, my children, that God's love is a constant presence, a silent care, a mercy that is renewed with each sunrise. Many still have not understood the depth of this love and continue to live as if they were alone, as if they had to carry everything without help. But I tell you, you have never been abandoned. God knows every pain, every hidden struggle, every tear that falls when no one sees. He walks with you, even when you do not recognize him. In light of this, be stronger, my children, not with the strength that the world teaches, which hardens and hurts, but with the strength that is born of faith, trust, and surrender. Be more steadfast in good, more persevering in prayer, more determined to live according to God's will. The world tries to weaken your hearts with fear, confusion, and despair, but those who trust in the Lord find rest even amidst the storms. I have called you to conversion not as an imposition, but as a path to liberation. To convert is to turn your heart back to God, to allow him to heal what is wounded, organize what is confused, and illuminate what is dark. Many resist this call because they fear change, but change made with God does not destroy, it restores. Nothing that is given to the Father is lost. Be more vigilant, my children, with what you allow into your hearts. Not everything the world presents as normal comes from God. When you stray from the truth, the soul weakens. When you choose the light, even with effort, grace sustains you. Do not neglect faith, do not treat God as a last resort. Place him at the center of your lives, and everything will find its proper place. I accompany you every step of the way. As a mother, I intercede for you, especially for those who are furthest away, for those who have lost hope, for those who can no longer pray. Even when you do not speak to me, I carry you in my heart before God. Trust in this maternal care that surrounds and protects you. Be stronger and more steadfast, my children. Do not be discouraged by difficulties. Do not let yourselves be overcome by spiritual weariness. Persevere. God's love is greater than any darkness, and those who allow themselves to be guided by him will never walk without direction. Remain in this love, heed this call, and let your lives become a living testimony of the grace that has been offered to you. My beloved children, remain in inner silence and let this mother speak to you with patience and truth, as one who knows every step of your journey. Understand, my children, that everything I have revealed to you over time is a reflection of God's immense love for your lives. These are not empty words, nor meaningless warnings, but expressions of an eternal care that has surrounded you since before your birth. God loves you personally, deeply, and constantly, even when you doubt, even when you distance yourselves, even when you think you do not deserve this love. I have shown you, my children, that God's love is not fragile like human love, which changes according to he remains when you are faithful and when you fall. He never tires of waiting. He doesn't close the doors. He doesn't silently withdraw. It is you who often distance yourselves from him, distracted by worries, wounded by disappointments, deceived by paths that promise much and deliver little. Yet, God continues to call, continues to offer a new beginning, continues to extend his hand. In light of this, be stronger, my children, and be firmer in faith. The strength I ask of you does not come from pride, nor from self-sufficiency, but from the humility to recognize that you need God in everything. Be stronger to resist the temptations that lead you away from grace. Be stronger to say no to sin that presents itself as something normal. Be stronger to remain in good when everything around seems to choose the opposite path. The world has become increasingly confusing, and many hearts weaken because they no longer know what to believe in. Truth is relativized, love is distorted, faith is treated as a burden. Many live as if God were distant, as if he had no place in daily life. This deeply saddens heaven, my children, because without God man loses meaning, loses peace, and loses hope. A life far from God may seem full on the outside, but inside it remains empty. That is why I call you, with maternal insistence, to turn your hearts back to God. Relearn to pray, even if it is with few words. Relearn to trust, even when you do not understand the ways of the Lord. Relearn to wait, even when everything seems to take a long time. Faith matures through perseverance, and the soul is strengthened when it chooses God every day, not just in times of need. I have revealed to you, my children, that God's love is also correction. It is also a call to change. He does not approve of everything you do, but he never ceases to love you. When heaven warns, it is because it desires to save. When it calls for conversion, it is because it desires to heal. Do not close your hearts out of fear or pride. Let God transform you, even if it requires renunciation, even if it hurts at first. Grace always overcomes sacrifice. Be more vigilant with your choices, with your words, with what nourishes your thoughts. Evil acts in silence, in distraction, in spiritual negligence. But where there is prayer, it loses strength. Where there is faith, it does not remain. Where there is humility, God acts with power. Do not underestimate small acts of faithfulness, for they build great works in the unseen. I am with you, my children, walking beside you, supporting you when you falter, interceding for you when you no longer have the strength to ask for help. I bring before God every tear, every struggle, every silent request. Never think you are alone. Never believe that your life has no value. Each of you is precious in the eyes of the Father. Be stronger and more steadfast, my children, for you are called to be light in the midst of darkness, hope where many have already given up, a living witness to God's love. Do not let yourselves be overcome by fear or discouragement. Remain in faith, persevere in prayer, and trust in the love that has been revealed to you. Those who surrender themselves to God, even in their fragility, will never be abandoned. I cover you with my motherly love and lead you, step by step, closer to the heart of God. A home surrendered to grace becomes a refuge, a shelter, a place where peace can remain even when the world outside is agitated and threatening. Ask, my children, not with fear, but with confidence. Heaven's protection is not only a defense against visible evil, but also against that which silently enters the heart. Division, spiritual coldness, pride, indifference. How many homes have been weakened not by great attacks, but by small departures from God, by repeated choices that little by little open space for that which does not come from the Father. In the face of this, be more steadfast in God's grace. Do not allow faith to be merely a memory or a habit. Grace needs to be welcomed, lived, and defended every day. Be firm when you are tempted to give up, when spiritual weariness visits you, when the world offers you easier, but empty paths. The steadfastness I ask of you stems from the daily decision to remain with God, even when it requires renunciation. Do not let the world corrupt your lives, my children. The world tries to normalize what wounds the soul, tries to make acceptable what distances you from the truth. Often it presents itself in an attractive way, promising freedom, pleasure, and success. But behind it lies confusion, wounds, and loneliness. When you allow these values to enter your hearts, peace is lost and the light fades without you realizing it. Protect your homes not only with words, but with choices. Protect them with forgiveness, with dialogue, with respect, with fidelity. A home where God is placed first is strengthened even amidst trials. A home that seeks grace does not become perfect, but learns to start over, learns to heal, learns to remain united. Be vigilant, my children, with what you allow to enter your thoughts, your homes, and your hearts. Not everything that seems harmless is pure, nor does everything the world applauds come from God. Discern with humility, choose with wisdom, and do not neglect the spiritual life. Where there is no vigilance, evil finds openings. Where there is faith, it does not remain. I walk with you and intercede for every family, for every home, for every heart that desires to remain in the light. I know your struggles, your worries, and your silent fears. You are not alone. Heaven leans with love over those who trust and persevere. Be more steadfast in the grace of God. My children, do not let yourselves be molded by a passing world, but let yourselves be transformed by the love that is eternal. Remain faithful, guard your homes, protect your souls, and choose, every day, to live in the light. Those who trust in the Lord and place themselves under the protection of heaven will never walk without support. And even in the storms, the peace of God will continue to dwell among you.